the radio, building dreams and achieving more, telling it just like it is. Most of all, keeping it real. Are you ready for real talk? Changing lives and communities. Real talk. Saving all our families. Real talk. Bringing hope for you and me. Real talk. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Real Talk with Judy live radio show. I am Dr. Judy, your Real Talk host. I want to thank you for being with me today, Tuesday, October the 19th, 2021, right here on Hallelujah 95.3 FM. We're also on a Facebook Live, Instagram, and YouTube at Real Talk with Judy Live Radio. So I want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. But I want you to go ahead right now, take a few seconds on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and give us some hearts, invite, and share. Go ahead and tag your friends now. Listen, especially the women. So go ahead and tag right now. If you are on the radio or at your desk or wherever you are, contact your friends and call them, text them, email them, and let them know that the Real Talk with Judy Dream Building Show, they're talking about real issue with real people, real conversation, and useful information. The show which is empowering, inspiring, igniting you to see your dream from the end and helping you find your why and building on your faith, keeping it real with Dr. Judy. Is on the air right now for 1 full hour, and they do not want to miss it. So if you would, go ahead, hurry up before we get into the meat of the show and get them on. Hello to my mom, Mother Dr. Irma Hunter Wesley there in Fort Lauderdale. Mom is so glad to have you on again. And to my awesome and amazing husband, Superintendent Gerald Mandrell, Senior Pastor of Life Changers Church of God in Christ. He's the reason I get to do what I do. And to my amazing team led by our marketing director, Mrs. Priscilla John Lewis, who helps me deliver an award-winning show every Tuesday. I want to thank you so very much. And to you, the greatest audience ever. Thank you for tuning in to the Real Talk with Judy show again and on every Tuesday. Thank you so very much for tuning in. To all of the business investing sponsors of the show, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for investing. Thank you for helping us take this show once again to another level. Their names are being scrolled across the bottom of the screen. And so please patronize them. And you too can become a investing partner. Go to my website, www.realtalkwithjudy.com. and see how you can become an investing partner of the Real Talk with Judy show. Again, I want to thank you for being on Facebook, the radio, YouTube, Instagram. Thank you all so very much for being on. Before I bring on my guests, go ahead, tag people. Listen, especially women. Get the women on the show, because today we want to explain to you our world, everywhere. Women, it's our time. So before I do that, last Sunday, October the 17th, my husband and I celebrated 40 years of marriage. Whoa, 40 years of marriage we did. And guess what? We were in Jamaica. But we want to thank God so very much. And now we are beginning chapter 41. I want to say happy birthday to my very special friend and sister for over 30 years, Pastor Dr. Tawanda Davis. Happy birthday to you. And also to my son and brother, the Douglas Waddell. Want to say happy birthday to you as well. Well, today our discussion is going to be women, it's our time. Women, it's our time. And my guest is a person I greatly admire. She's originally from Montgomery, Alabama, and has lived in Tallahassee for 20 years. She received an undergraduate in biology, a Master of Public Health from Florida A&M University, and she currently serves as the director of the Florida Dental Association. The Florida Dental Association. And she has always been interested in dental health, and she developed a passion for oral health care issues when she was selected to participate in the inaugural class of the Florida Gubernatorial Fellows Program in 2004. And she was assigned to work in the office of the secretary at the Florida Department of Health, and she served on the state oral health improvement plan for disadvantaged person work group, and helped to develop strategies for the achievement of statewide comprehensive oral care. And I want to say this about my guest. I have on here because she's a woman of wisdom, a woman of compassion. She loves people, and she has accomplished so much. I've just watched her in so many situations. She's a leader extraordinary for women. She's raising a wonderful family with her husband, our former mayor, Mayor Andrew Gillum, and they have 3 wonderful children. But y'all, I'm going to bring her on because I want her to have time to really talk to us today and to give us some answers and to give us just some strategic plans and tips about us as women. It's our time. I bring to you my guest, the one and only, my friend, a woman I greatly admire, the one and only Mrs. R.J. Gillum.
Hi, Pastor Judy.
How you doing there?
Oh, I am well. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so glad to have you on with me today.
I'm honored to be back. I just want to say happy anniversary to you and Pastor Gerald. That is a blessing to reach 40 years of partnership and marriage. And I hope you all had a fantastic time celebrating. I can tell you have a fantastic time every day with each other, but it's a milestone that deserves to be recognized. So
it really is. And you know what, RJ, you know how people often say, some people say we're not going to make it, but and sometimes people really didn't say that, but sometimes people really did say that, right? And so we had people to tell us that we would last 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Then they went to 6 months. And then they said, oh, well, they'll probably make it a year. And there were some of the people we went to church with too, right? But to see that God, and it's only God who has blessed, it was God and our decision to stay together for 40 years. And we love each other. We really do. We laugh and have fun. And, you know, people see us and they're like, and even in Jamaica, they're like, y'all married 40 years? Oh, I'm right, man. So yes, it is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. And I can tell you work with the dental thing. Your teeth are so pretty.
Thank you so much. I tell you, a funny story. One of the reasons I majored in biology at FAMU is because I grew up my whole life wanting to be a dentist. And 2 things. I ended up volunteering chairside with a dentist and thought to myself, ooh, I don't know about this. And I also I had a lot of fun when I was in college. So I needed to kind of come back and get a grad degree before I prepared myself for dental school. But you know, you make plans and then God shows you what the real plans are. So I've always enjoyed all aspects of, you know, oral health and either making people smile or making a healthy smile. So I have to tell you now that it's kind of like having a dream job. My mom's a health educator. So me going the public health route and then kind of marrying that passion for public health with oral health and dental health and what I do now. You gave me a promotion, and I have to say this because my boss might be watching, but I'm the director of our foundation, not the overall Florida Dental Association, just the foundation. So I absolutely love what I do because I get to raise money and then find ways to put those funds to work all throughout the state for people who are, you know, truly disadvantaged, who are disabled, medically needy, a lot of people who really need important dental care, not just for cosmetic reasons, but for their health. So I'm really blessed to be able to do that. So.
And that is awesome. I like what you said. You said you're gonna, what you said, make them smile.
Yes. Yeah,
Or
it's because important. I like to make people smile, but then,
yeah,
some people, if you ever come to any of our events, because we actually do a really large free dental clinic every year. It's called Florida Mission of Mercy. And I'm really excited because it moves around the state. I work for a statewide organization, and it's actually in Tallahassee this upcoming year. So in March, it'll be March 11th and 12th, 2022. I had to think about what year it was. For 2 days. It's first come, first serve. You'll get far more information about it when we're closer, but we have dentists from all over the state, hygienists, assistants, all kind of other volunteers who are there for 2 days, and we provide free dental care. So, to see some people and hear their stories, and, some people are talking to you like this and smiling like this because they don't want you to see their teeth, or they're holding their mouth because they're in pain. So I like to, whether it's cracking a joke or giving a compliment, make people smile, but also now I get to do it through my job in a real healthy way too. So.
and that is awesome. And I know you said all your life you wanted to be a dentist.
I did.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I think I actually can't even remember ever wanting to be anything else, but I say it all the time, Pastor Judy. I think that representation matters. I think it's so important for children, no matter who they are, or even us as adults, to be able to see things reflected. And when I was a little girl, my pediatrician and my dentist was a married couple. They were both Black. And, they shared an office. Half was the pediatrician side and half was the dental office. And to see this very successful Black couple, they raised 3 daughters. And to just, admire them. And I always love going to the dentist. I will ask for a mirror so I can see what they're doing and, want to know what's going on, and always love to brush my teeth. So I think that had a lot to do with it, just knowing that it was possible, and seeing it and thinking, well, this would be a cool thing to do. And I kind of changed my mind as I got older, but I really believe that it was just being young and seeing somebody that looked like me being my dentist, and thinking, I kind of equated that to success, not just success, but also they probably love what they do. You get to come to work every day and love what you do and love helping people and helping children learn to love their teeth. So.
And that's one of the things I do see you like that, RJ, is that you really love people. You love smiling. You love laughter.
I do.
And I've seen you in so many different arenas. And that's, to me, that's one of your strong personalities, because you genuinely care.
I do.
It's not fake. I've seen you with people, and I've seen you with women, and how you really help to push us forward. Yeah. And I really think that's one of your pluses. And it's genuine.
Thank you. I think I could say the same for you, Pastor Judy, but I think, and you probably can relate to this, it's so much strife and trouble in this world. Mm-hmm. I just don't know. I think the way God built me, and the way my parents raised me, and the way I saw people that I admired, it's, I want to be able to go to bed every night and feel good about what I've done that day. How have I contributed, even if I don't have it in me to give to, the community in general. Mm-hmm. Have I touched a friend? Have I touched, my spouse? Have I touched my children? It's all about just helping other people feel good, because I think that we got enough bad in this world that it's just not worth it to kind of add to that and pile on. It's helpful for us to lift each other up. So,
and that's real talk. So to the audience, I hope you get it. This world has enough evil and hatred and strife in it. So let's be people who add smile to people. Let's be people who just make our neighbor, our friend, anyone, just help them feel better. So RJ, as we get into our discussion today, I brought you on because, as I stated, I do admire you as a woman who, number one, you how you supported your husband when he was married, you was with us. You were right there with us. It wasn't like he was by himself, but you were right there with us. And then your children and how you just moving, and I see you as a woman who just keep rising in different levels. So when you hear, I tell you, our discussion is going to be women. It's our time.
Yes.
So when you hear that, what comes to your mind?
Oh, I think so many things. I think that especially for me and my close girlfriends and people I went to school with that are my age, we're kind of stepping into this time for us. I'm in my early 40s where we're finally hearing the kind of things that our moms told us. Oh, you just wait. When you turn 40, it's going to get better. And now I'm hearing everybody, when you turn 50, it's even better. And when you turn 60, it's even better. But we spend so much time in our, I think, in adolescence and 20s and 30s, just trying to figure it all out, trying to chase things. Some of us are lucky that we kind of get it. We are able to chase our passion and it works for us. But for many of us women, I think, especially Black women, we do a lot for other people. If you are married, and I make no bones about the fact that I think I would consider my partnership with Andrew to be one where we are progressive and modern, but we probably have a pretty traditional, marriage. We're both strong people, but I still admire the fact that my husband feels as though he's the head of our household. That doesn't take away his respect for me. We lead our household together, but he takes on the mantle of the responsibility of being the head of our household. And, I appreciate that. The thing we say is, he is, the head, but I'm the neck that turns the head.
Turn the head, yes,
right. But I think for so many people who are in marriages or committed relationships, when you go from being single to being in a relationship or a marriage, you have to try to figure out that dynamic. You're the same person you were, but you're different, right? And then if you become a parent, when you are a mother, that brings on a whole nother layer of, well, now I have this new identity and I'm just trying to figure it all out. So for someone like me who had a pretty public life, as I'm navigating all that, it just depended on who I was talking to. But 9 times out of 10, I was either Andrew Gillum's wife or, Caroline Jackson or Davis's mother. And sometimes you have to try to figure out, well, where do I fit into all of that? And I'm still figuring it out every day. I think it's better every day. But I think for most women, it's our time is an acknowledgement of let's figure out where our place is individually so that you feel good about yourself, figuring out where your place is. If you're in a relationship, what is the status of your professional situation? Are you doing the thing that you love? Or are you just working to get by for now? That's fine. That's important because that's what you have to do sometimes. Mm-hmm. But what are your long-term plans? Figure out what you want for yourself so that you don't lose yourself. I think so many women lose ourselves. I know we're going to probably talk about this later, but being intentional about taking leadership positions. I love that we're seeing more of us leading and running for office. And, if you never went to college and you wanted to go, you're never too old to go to school. All of those things, I feel like it's important for us to say individually and collectively, it's our time. I love the phrase that you put forth, and it really reminds me of, a couple of years ago, they had the T-shirts out, but Congresswoman Maxine Waters, when she said, I'm reclaiming my time. And, it's a statement that is part of procedure in Congress is when you're in these hearings and you can either yield your time or you can reclaim your time. And I even bought a T-shirt where it said, I'm reclaiming my time, because I think it's just an important reminder is that if you want to give it, that's fine. Give your time, but make sure you know how to reclaim your time too when that time comes. So,
yeah, I think that's very important too, because you're hitting on some good stuff. And I think, RJ, that one of the things that you just said is that it is okay to figure out who you are, because sometimes we as women, especially, you stated, we lose ourselves.
Right.
And we lose ourselves in our family. We lose ourselves in our job. We lose ourselves in expectation or what other people think we should be. And I like how you said you all got y'all marriage dynamics good, and I think our marriage is that tradition. I don't know. It's just a Jerry and Judy marriage. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Well,
Yeah.
you hit that right on the head. And, I probably said it more in the past couple of years after us being so public. But my mom, and I think I am appreciative of all the women around me, because we have always believed that your marriage is your marriage. It's nobody in it but you, right? and
Yeah.
and you don't have to explain it to anybody, and you don't have to try to make it look like anybody else's. You can, of course, want to model the things that you admire and have a network of people who you're like mentors to you. I love, your group of your married girlfriends and people you had. That's important to have that support system. But when it comes down to it, the big decisions, I'm sure the reason you and Pastor Gerald made it to where you are is because you didn't have extra people in your marriage for these past 40 years. The only other person that's allowed in it is, God. And that's kind of important, that otherwise you'll drive yourself crazy trying to either do something that looks like what someone else is doing or do what you think you're supposed to be doing. And I'm just really grateful. I got lucky and was blessed with a partner that we both truly believe that we're the only two in our marriage. And what's on the outside, we'd be lying if we said we didn't care.
Right.
But we do know that the most important thing is what we have and what's in it. And it's not for everybody else to understand.
Exactly. And that, I guess that's why we get to rise like we rise, because one of the things that I believe, and I was talking with my mom after my show last Tuesday, and I said, one of the things, because my sister made a comment that the Wesley girls are strong women.
Yeah.
She said and we have a lot of strong women on here, but you don't take away or minimize the fact that your husband
Exactly
is the head of the house.
Right.
But it takes a strong woman to help that man not feel any less than the man that he is, especially our Black men.
Yeah.
And so that's important. So even as we're rising, even as it is our time, we're going places that we haven't been, RJ.
Yeah.
We're sitting in seats that we have not sat in.
Right.
Abram, what's her name? Stacey Abram.
Yes.
I had to get her on here.
Yeah.
So, oh man, I love that lady.
Yeah.
I just admire her tenacity and stuff, right? But at the same time, we're sitting at tables in all arenas, just like you said, politics, government, education, law enforcement, business, religion. We got women, so many women bishops and women pastors, and that wasn't allowed a long time. But my question I want to ask you, in your opinion, and another reason why I'm admiring you is because you've been places that I hadn't been. You done been all the way up to the top, and you have seen things that we have not seen. You have heard things that we have not heard, and you still carry yourself gracefully in sitting in different seats and being in with other. I mean, you just been high up the ladder, and there's nothing wrong with that. In your opinion, have Black women really been accepted as a world-class leader at the table?
That's a tricky question. I think in some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. And I think it's so complex as we try to figure that out. You just mentioned I've been a lot of places and I've seen a lot of things, but I feel as though it is in my DNA and I understand every word and every syllable of, knowing that God has blessed me with those opportunities, not just for me to keep them to myself, right? Mm-hmm. Because to whom much is given, much is required. Mm-hmm. And, that even brings it back to the slogan when Andrew was running for governor was bring it home. He was raised the same way I was. Some people don't really know the background of the slogan, but he came to that by telling the story about how his grandmother told them, everything you get it's for the benefit of others, right? It's not just your family. It's this sense of community. It's little boys and little girls that are watching you to see what you do. Next week, FAMU celebrates homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
And last week, a friend of ours, Will Packer, released a video where there's a massive fundraising campaign going on for FAMU. And I absolutely loved it. I had to send him a note because he is just one. There's many people at FAMU, but he is one who, as he has ascended in his career and become this, huge television producer, somebody who's recognized in Hollywood, someone who big name actors want to work with, he doesn't forget where he came from. And you see that. It's not, if you've known him before, if you follow him on social media, his family is most important to him, his daughters and his wife. And I admire the way he co-parents with his ex-wife. Wow. There are countless stories of young people who've come out of FAMU, some of whom just moved to LA, didn't have a plan and were homeless and reached out to him. He's one of those kind of people that always reaches his hand back and wants to bring people along. And, I teased him. I said, I can't wait till I get rich so I can get something named after me at FAMU. But, the thought is that to him, I owe so many people for where I am. I didn't get here by myself, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So women, I think it's inherent in us to believe and feel that way, that we didn't get somewhere by ourselves. So when we see these Black women become the CEO of Walgreens and AARP and all these other places, I'm so proud to see them very publicly, share their journeys, share their platforms, especially if they went to HBCUs, they tend to go back to campus. They tend to give back because I think they all understand and recognize that a lot is required of them. This success wasn't just handed to them for them to be the only one that becomes successful. So it's hard because there's not a lot of us. There's not a lot of Black women out there doing it. I feel like in general, when we look at the statistics, we're at the bottom of the totem pole on a lot. But we have to fight, scrap, hustle, do whatever we have to do to get to those places. If you have an interest in running for office, there's programs out there to help you. Go take a public speaking class because you're like, I know I have the brains, but I'm scared to talk to people. Go take a public speaking class and get your plan together so that in 2 years or 4 years, you will be ready to run for office, right? Mm-hmm. Go get active in some local boards and organizations so that when it comes time for people to get picked and selected to be on these boards and to represent at various conferences, you're being considered. And I think that so many of us as Black women, we are spending time taking care of everybody else. And while we're taking care of them, they're able to ascend. But we're still taking care of them. We're still on the foundation level, helping everybody else. But it's time for us we can still help them, right? Mm-hmm. But we need to do what we need to do to keep rising. And I think that as more of us do that, it becomes more attainable for our little girls who are looking at us.
Yes.
And it becomes more acceptable, and people won't feel like they're taking a chance. And one other thing I'll say, because I know you have some other questions, Pastor Judy, but some of this is not necessarily as overtly offensive or biased as we think it is. A lot of this I'm learning, it's really the who you know game, right? I work for an organization that represents dentists in the state of Florida. Just by the numbers, the highest percentage of dentists in Florida are men. Our membership, those who join our professional organization, not only are they men, but they're white men. There's a lot of different reasons for that, right? Mm-hmm. For one, even though we have more and more women who are becoming dentists, women dentists are still just like most other women, and they may have families. They have other priorities. They are involved with their churches and on community boards. So they're not as involved in this, what we call organized dentistry. But if somebody calls me and says, hey, we have a position on this advisory board and we need a dentist. Do you know any? Well, if you ask me, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to give you 5 names. All 5 probably are going to be African-American dentists because I know them, right? They're probably good friends. I'm not afraid to put my name to them. But I also know that if you're asking me, that's an opportunity. Because you may ask my friend, Dr. John Doe right here, but if John Doe is a white male, he might not be racist or biased,
Right.
but his 5 closest friends that he knows that will be great on this board are probably just like him. They're probably all white men. And that's something I've just kind of seen, especially in this last job, because I like to see stuff that looks like me.
Yeah.
And the tiniest thing, we have a magazine, a journal. When we need to call somebody to write an article, when we need to call somebody because we're trying to throw together a photo shoot at the last minute, who do you call? The people who are topmost in your mind. Well, if you don't have any Black dentist friends, you're not thinking of them, right? So it's not always intentional, but it's just a reminder to me. And I tell a lot of my friends, anybody I know that's Black and a dentist, pay your dues and join this organization. We do a lot for the profession. And I know you can probably still benefit from it without being a member, but there are benefits to membership. So when you come to the conference every year in Florida and you see all the big poster boards of the board of directors and the leadership, and you say, I don't see any Black faces, that kind of works both ways, right? We have to get involved and be out there and put our foot out there. And even if we don't win, we got to run for office. We got to show up to the meetings because nobody's just going to pluck you out of the crowd just because you're a good person, right? Yeah. That's where the faith without works is dead comes from.
Wow.
We actually have to do some work sometimes to ascend. And I think that Black women in general, it's not that we're not doing the work. I just think we got to be a little smarter and a little more strategic about how we expend our energy and our time. We got a limited amount of time. So what are you doing with it?
Oh, RJ, you just said so much. I mean, if I was rich, I'll pay you.
Cause look, that's the next step. I'm working on getting some money for my knowledge.
Man, that was good.
I just want to genuinely, I want to see us do well. Yeah. And it's you made me think of it when you said it. I have been put in positions and places where I can't leave those places and just say, man, that was so exciting. And that be the end of it. It has to be about what now? What can I do with this? Who can I help with this?
Yeah. So. And I love what you're saying because you're telling, do y'all hear this? She's telling us we got to be prepared. Number one, we have to be prepared. It's our
absolutely.
Time. We have to be prepared. And when we're prepared and we put ourselves in positions and to go and talk to other people, we're sitting at the table, making room, saving a seat for the next sister.
Yes.
We're saving a seat for the next sister. So my sisters and brothers, when we get in a place, it's not just one thing I can say about Andrew. When Andrew was in office and he knew I loved to pray, I don't care when prayer, I don't care when prayer, what type of prayer he was having. And I've met so people from the big prayer that we did at the Presbyterian Church.
Yes.
And then when we did the citywide prayer, we did the walks. But I was in a place and prepared because I know he wasn't going to call me. I just got up there. Now, Lord.
Exactly. You were ready.
I was ready. and I'm prepared. I'm
That's
ready
right.
So not office, but I'm ready for some more stuff. But what you're just telling us, you made some very vital points, RJ, that I really hadn't thought about. Is that sometimes when we see certain posters or people, and I have stated, why no Black people on there?
Right. I do it all the time.
But if we haven't prepared ourselves or position ourselves in a place where our name can be heard, or our face can be seen, or someone who's in place can recommend us, because a lot of the time, like you said, it was a predominantly white female organization.
Yeah.
It may not be biased or prejudiced or anything. It's just that when they think about it,
they're
going to think about their friends.
Yeah. It's like there's a little accountability there, it's the accountability of making sure, like you said, you're ready. But then there's also the holding others accountable. When you don't see the faces, ask the questions. Say, how do I get involved in this? Or did you all even realize this is not diverse? And then I'll take it a step further.
Wow.
Once you do get in the position, there's also, I believe, a level of accountability. You need to not forget how few of you there are there and how you actually may be the only one. And sometimes that's a lot of pressure for people. And we keep using the example of running for office. I just think that's a good example because nobody is saying, say, for instance, you run for city commission and you win. No one is saying you are not representing the entire city, because you do. On the city commission, you represent the entire city. But if you are, the lone Black woman or the lone Black man, you always have to try to remember that sometimes other people, intentionally or not, are not thinking about your constituents. And when I say your constituents, I'm not talking about the city. I'm talking about, your true interests, your neighbors, the probably the groups of people that helped you get elected.
Yes.
So it's tough because we got a lot of responsibility and a lot of work. But I just think that when we come together and do that work, it will be worth it. It'll be worth it because then there will be more of us, and there will be, we're bringing more people along, and the work gets lighter because there's more hands.
There's more hands. Man, this is great. I mean, you just jumped out. Jumped right in. Come on. But one of the things that you stated too, that we got to be willing to share our platform. We have to be willing to share our platform. And one of the things that I've found with women, Black women, we become so territorial, or I don't know, so afraid that, for lack of a better word, and you can help me, that others going to outshine us.
Absolutely.
So we won't. I've seen it so many times. We rather push each other down instead of saying, "Hey, RJ got the ball. Go, RJ. Let's clap." To me personally, it takes nothing away from me if you're running the ball and we're winning.
Right.
Because I know when you get it, you're going to bring Judy up. But
Absolutely.
Judy got to remember too to bring up Abby.
Absolutely.
So
I'm going to say something about that, Pastor Judy. I'm going to say that we are all still humans. And I think we have to also be careful those who we lift and exalt, because sometimes we know beforehand if those people are going to be team players or not, right? And like I was just talking about accountability, we have to make sure we hold those people accountable. But I also want to say that I believe grace is important. We got to give people grace. I think that a lot of times those folks are just human. If you are in a position of power or you're one of the only ones, sometimes that does feel good. It feels good to be right in that kind of position. And maybe you are nervous or scared that somebody is going to threaten that. So I think that, these two things can be true. These two things can be true at the same time. We just have to be really careful, what we do and how we conduct ourselves and how we hold people accountable when they behave like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure your experience on some level, because I agree with you 100%. The Bible says don't put a novice in position.
Yeah.
And so, and it goes back to what you're saying about the training, the preparation, getting people ready for this, and say, hey, look, I got my eye on you, so I need you to come up some.
Yeah.
You want to come and you want to sit at this table, go to Toastmasters.
Absolutely.
One of the things I'm doing, I have a Dream Builders Family Affairs program. And I'm working with a lot of parents at governors' charters. And what I told them was, I want to train you that when they're asking or putting in place things for families, you would be prepared.
Absolutely.
Or what to say or how, because in some of our classes, RJ, they come in there, they don't do this, and
exactly.
they don't do this, and the white people and the Black people. And I'm like, but if you want to sit at the table, they're not going to hear you.
Nope.
You can say what you want. They're not going to hear you. I say, so I'm bringing in people to talk to them because I want to prepare.
I love that.
So when they go to the table, they're prepared. I don't want them to say, "Oh, I come out of Dr. Judy class."
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you, if no, that ain't
Right.
Dr. Judy class.
Right.
No.
that's not what
So
she taught you.
I ain't taught you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, I thought you were about to say. So we really want to get into that. Do you believe? And I know we're talking black and white. I am on a lot of this because I've experienced, and it seemed like sometimes we're, I don't know, held to a different standard or something.
Yes.
So what challenges for Black women and minorities do we have that our other sisters may not have? That you.
Yeah, I think like I'm just thinking about professionally. I really do feel the weight of the responsibility to educate others and bring issues to the forefront. I think what we experienced over the pandemic, the changes that happened as a result of the death of George Floyd, it was nothing new to us, right? If you really think about it, what was different about George Floyd than, any of these other cases that have broken our hearts? I truly believe that as unfortunate as that incident was, that thing had a purpose, right? Because the world was at a standstill and everybody had to listen and pay attention. You couldn't pretend like you didn't pay attention.
Right.
So more businesses, companies, just friends, especially a lot of us still had children at home. Your kids probably saw you watching the news or they're having conversations with other kids, were at a point where they couldn't pretend like they didn't know this was going on in the world. And I had some tough conversations with people. What I appreciated most was the white women who reached out. And I know that some of us get so upset. I saw a lot going around social media. It's not my job to educate you. It's already hard enough being Black and going through this. Go do your own research. I totally understand people like that. I respect that opinion. I just feel differently because these weren't random people coming to me. This was my friend and my coworker, or, the person I know whose husband is a state trooper and doesn't know what to tell their children, because in their house, of course, they are proud of their father. And now these people are saying your father is a bad person. What do I tell my kids? How do I educate my kids? And I really appreciated tough conversations I had with people that were simple conversations. Like one day, one of my coworkers said, something about, I'm sorry, I get it, but I don't want all this stuff coming into sports because I just want to watch the game. And I saw that as a teachable moment. I said, there is a reason we now play the Negro National Anthem at NFL games. There is a reason why Black athletes are held to different standards than white athletes. This is our culture. LeBron James can't just ascend to where he is and just be a good player and not give the money he gives to social justice efforts and education, because that is not our culture. We're not really okay with you going off and being successful and not giving back to us and helping out the people that helped you get to where you are. Exactly. And I feel like once we had an open, honest conversation in the break room at work, they now said, okay, I get it, and just explaining privilege to people. I have a good friend who, he struggles with the idea that all white people have privilege and all white men have privilege because he grew up dirt poor. Parents are wonderful people that taught him about respecting all cultures. And I told him, I know that about you because we're friends. The average person doesn't know that about you. And we also can't say for certain that you haven't gotten where you've gotten in life because of what you look like. It's only now that HR directors are trained to either not look at the name or not look at the school, or to, because there's implicit bias as well as explicit bias. It doesn't matter how good your intentions are. White people in general have just had it a little better than other people. And I don't mind having conversations with people about that. I don't mind sharing with them when I see the posts coming up about, if you have kids in elementary school, here's a list of books for your kids to read. I don't mind telling my white friends, when you sign up to give toys for the toy drive. 9 times out of 10, that's a Black family, depending on the organization. Don't go buying white dolls.
Yeah.
Go buy a Black Barbie doll or a Black baby doll, because when we do our toy drive, I don't want this little girl at the housing authority praising something that doesn't look like her, because she gets enough of that. She needs to see this beautiful Barbie doll or this beautiful baby doll that looks like her, right? She needs to see the movie and the Disney princess that looks like her, so that she doesn't go crying at night that she don't look like Elsa. So it's the smallest things. Yeah. It's a big thing, but it's these small things that we can do to help advance it and to not make it so hard and so far for people like us to get into this business arena, get into these spots, and just make it a little easier on all of us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And if you all are paying attention and listening to how RJ is answering these questions, nothing is but she's giving us, if you're paying attention, she's giving us wisdom right now, how to answer questions. I respect that opinion.
Yeah.
However, I think differently.
Yeah.
And so that helps us as we're moving up the ladder, as we're moving up. There's a certain way we have to think, we have to talk. You're not lessening yourself.
Yeah.
You're bringing yourself onto the playing field.
Right.
Right. I watch how Stacey Abrams. I guess you see, I'm a fan.
No, I'm a fan too. I love Stacey. We go back. She and Andrew have been friends for many, many years. So I love and respect her as well. That is one brilliant woman. I think we still don't know and understand the brilliance that she has. So
I have been reading her books because I'm like, kind of like the Bible. You know, in the old days, how people used to put the Bible on their head. I've had her books on my head, like, come out of here, come into me now. But I watch her handle herself amongst men.
Yes.
Amongst the white men.
Yeah.
I watched her, how she carried herself and all of that. How important, RJ, would you say to us women, how important is it that we carry ourselves in a manner of strength, courage, and respect for ourselves in those arenas?
Yeah, that's so tough, Pastor Judy. I know we are going through phases now where it's all about, we have the right to be able to be our unfiltered selves, our authentic and true selves. But I just believe that to be true. But there's a little bit of nuance in there, right? Mm-hmm. When I look up and realize that I'm the only in the room, my interactions mean a lot more, because I am now representing Black women, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not fair, but it is reality. Mm-hmm. And it also has consequences. So if I am selected and I am the only, what's going to happen if I act a fool and the next time there's a chance for somebody to get selected? Either intentionally or unintentionally, I might have taken a chance from another sister that really deserves it. And I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers when I say this, but I'm gonna be real. I appreciate what you just said about what you teach people, because what I think is important, I value and appreciate this about Andrew. My mother's the same way. What's the end goal here, right? When you popping off on somebody, what's the end goal? Because trust me, I do know there is a time and a place to show people who they're dealing with. Coming from someone who feels that in general people take my kindness for weakness, you do have to show them who you are. But there's also a time and a place. There's a way to behave. And the one thing I am so grateful to my mother for is that she taught me that grace and strength can exist together, right? So when people see me, the people that know me, your demeanor is this. Andrew always talks about my grace. There have been times where I even talked to God and said, God, I just wish you didn't give me so much of it. Because I want to be like everybody else. I want to be irresponsible and pop off and yell and act a fool, because sometimes you think that's what's effective.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I know for sure is that I can go somewhere, and you're going to have to excuse me for saying this, Pastor Judy, and I hope none of your listeners get offended, but I can cuss somebody out without using curse words, right? I
Yes.
can do that without being profane and using um, explicit language.
Yes.
And when I do it, they're not expecting it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I am conducting myself in a way that I feel like when I go places and when I have conversations with people, they're listening, because that's just the way I have conducted myself. So I can still get the point across. I can still get the message across. I'm just doing it in a different way. I'm also not saying that everybody has to do it that way, because if that's not authentically you, you don't need to do it. But it's like you just said, you can't go in the meeting or on the phone or doing whatever it is you're doing, acting a fool or being loud or being ignorant, as my grandma used to call it, because you may have a very important message and your message is lost. No one is listening to you now, and they may not ever listen to you, because if you come back, you can't erase how
Can't
you
even.
behaved before. So it's not just you. I feel like I've been in enough positions where I've been the only, and I understand sometimes why I'm picked too, to be the only. I'm picked because they think I'm the safe one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I have to do with that is be strategic, and I have to carry the message along for all my brothers and sisters, or whoever it is, my more passionate people. I still have to carry the water for them as well, because I've been blessed with the opportunity to have a voice or have a seat at the table. So they may not see me coming, but I have something to say, and I am going to be smart about it because I know they're listening. So that's a tough one. I know a lot of people completely disagree with me. I know a lot of women, even friends, who are my opposite. You know, they're never gonna go and they gonna see me coming and they're gonna hear from me and da 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 da. I just feel and believe that you have to know what's the long game here and know
Mm-hmm.
the consequences of that. If that's how you can behave and you are still effective and you still are able to sleep at night, then that's good. I just know that that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So, that's why I say when you ask that question, it's a loaded question. Um, and I think it's true for all women. If we go in a place acting and behaving the way some men behave, we get called a word that I can't say on here, right?
Right.
And
That's
if a
right.
man does it, he's strong and aggressive.
That's right.
But if we do it, we're angry and we are, or they will be assertive, we will be aggressive.
Yes.
Assertive, it's not usually considered negatively. Aggressive is.
Aggressive is.
And unfortunately, we're still dealing with that over time. More and more of us will get to a place where hopefully, we won't have to deal with that. But you got to know that going in. You got to know what is the truth, but you also know what is the perceived truth. And you kind of have to govern yourself accordingly, based on that. So.
Wow, man, this is absolutely good. I'm thinking as you were talking, my mom used to tell us, my sisters and I, she said, carry yourself respectively because a man can do some things and you can't.
That's
She
right.
said, David was caught in adultery, but what is he known as?
Exactly.
After God on heart.
That's right.
Sheba, one of us, who Rahab. Rahab was still known as a whore.
Yes.
All the good she did, saving them people. So, and she would tell us that. She said they can put on a suit, they're going to be Mr. You can put on a suit and you still going to be that old loose woman
Right.
and that. And so, RJ, you have said some real good things to us today. And I know this audience, look at the question. I know they got a lot of questions. They got comments. They're so happy. You have blessed the people today. You have blessed me. You have said
Thank
some
you.
powerful things, RJ. And I am so thankful that you have taken the time to talk to us. And I really wanted you on because you have said and you sit at a different level than some of us and some women like me. And God is bringing us up in
That's
different
right.
atmosphere in different arenas, and we don't want to mess up. And
Yeah.
as you stated, we got to look at the end goal. We got to look at who's coming behind us.
Yeah.
Us. My supervisor of women, she told me, she said, Evangelist McDrell, I got to watch the way I walk because I can lead you into quit staying because you're
That's
coming
right.
behind me. She said, I don't want you to sink.
That's
So
right.
today, RJ, you have given us so many pointers to help us not sink.
Yeah.
Women, because it's our time, but we can't go sinking. We got little girls and stuff coming behind us.
They're watching us.
Take a minute and say something. Close us out with some powerful word. You have blessed us.
Thank you. Well, I want to say to you, I can't even remember when I first met you because it feels like I've known you forever. But I appreciate that you understand the responsibility of your platform, Pastor Judy. I appreciate what you're doing with your platform. I appreciate how active you are in our community. I think there's so many things that people don't even know you do, which that ought to blow their mind because we see what you are doing. I think that it is in your heart um, and Pastor Gerald's heart to just in general make the world a better place. And I'm so grateful to you. Thank you for thinking of me. It's my second time on the show, and I'm honored by the ask. When you and I saw each other in the park, a couple of years since we've seen each other in person, just your aura and your spirit is welcoming. The conversation we had, I think, after the last couple of years, highs and lows of what my family has been through, you have consistently been someone who has both spoken and unspoken, supported us, loved us, prayed for us, given us grace, and told other people to give us grace. And I know you know, but I wanted to say publicly how much of a difference that makes. Because we feel the support, we've needed it at times, and so it's just beautiful to have it. Having a daughter has probably changed me more than anything. I know my sons see me, but having a daughter and wanting to model for her and every other little girl that sees me and thinks highly enough of me to call me a role model just makes me move different. I'm lucky and blessed that a lot of this just comes naturally. I truly believe God has put it in my DNA to be the way I am. I am blessed to have, and I still have both my mom and my dad pour into me all the lessons and the blessings that they poured into their children. And so that responsibility lives on with me. And I just kind of, if I don't wake up in the morning, I want to know that I live my life with no regrets.
Yes.
And that I have made a difference, a positive difference for people. So thank you for what you're doing. That's all I can say. Thank you for what you're doing. And I continue to encourage everybody to take care of yourselves, women. That's my message to women. I know we have some gentlemen watching. Because if you've ever been on an airplane, in the beginning when they give you the instructions, they say you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. In case something happens and the mask fall down, put it on yourself first. And I think that is counterintuitive for women and Black women. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to us that we would help ourselves before we reach over to help somebody else, especially our children. And I'm not talking about your blood children. I'm saying children in general. But if you don't take care of yourself, you can't do all of these things. We can't reclaim our time. We can't take positions of power and leadership. So take care of yourself first. And in taking care of yourself, work your plan, figure out what you want for your life, what your purpose is, and just go do it. Because we have everything we need to do it.
Yes.
We just have to do it.
Wow. Thank you so very much again. And one thing for sure, and I think everybody knows, you and Andrew, y'all are my friends. I love y'all so much.
Right.
I love you. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love you. And
we love you too. We love you too.
Do because you answer my texts and calls.
That's right. But you're a good person and a good friend, and I'm just so grateful that you are on this earth, Pastor Judy.
Oh, me too. You're gonna make me cry up in here. So, to the audience, thank you all so very much for tuning in to the Real Talk with Judy live show with RJ Gillum, and y'all see the wisdom that this young lady has, and we just look for her to be wherever she's gonna be. but we know that she's doing some great things, and you are a great role model. And you said so much to us today. So ladies, we can't just do what we want, and men can't just do what we want. We got people watching us. There are people, and I want to say this, that I believe call everybody a role model. Somebody is watching and following you.
That's right.
And sometimes we will mess up, and it's okay, just as long as you tell them how to get back up.
Absolutely.
Show them how to get up. Show them how to get up. But thank you all so very much for tuning in. Next Tuesday, October the 26th, by popular demand, the wives that was on the 12th coming back.
Oh, good.
I've had over 50 people to ask me to bring them back. So I'm going to bring them back October the 26th. And we're going to do it all over again, okay? And do some things. So y'all come on back, spread the word. The flyer will be out shortly. I'm going to tell y'all about the retreat, but not now. I'm going to tell you about it because we got to get you registered before the 31st. You just got to register, pay a $50 deposit. Going to be absolutely fantastic. Join me in Bible study tonight with our son, Elder-elect Stephen Davis. Again, thank you, RJ, for being on. You have helped us women. You have helped us.
And
we're gonna reclaim our time.
That's right.
Full proof of it. Y'all, this has been a Real Talk with Judy show. And guess what? I see us in the future, and we're some bad women making things happen. That's Real Talk.
Real Talk with Judy. Real Talk with Judy on the radio.